YouTube, what's going on? I got one hell of a story for you guys today. I'm at a dealership shop up here, Grand Junction, Colorado, and I had a load picking up. I think it's between Sacramento and San Francisco. Obviously, you guys seen my last video. It had 11 stops on it. It was a driver assist load of windows to the tail. Anyways, so from San Francisco all the way down to Albuquerque, I had about 5 stops in Albuquerque, shot up to Colorado Springs on the 25, and from Colorado Springs, I think it was the US 50 going over to, what was it? Monroe and Grand Junction. It's just a little from the 25, you know, up from Albuquerque into Colorado Springs. It's a little US highway that cuts over back over to the 70. Nothing but mountains. From what I hear, I believe it's one of the highest points in Colorado. I mean, I might be mistaken on that, but anyways, it's a serious mountain grade, 9 miles down. Anyways, so I get up to the top of this thing and I ran hot. I had check engine lights on the top of the mountain, pulled over on the shoulder. I had no cell phone service, no way to call out for help. I only had two gallons of coolant on me at the time, and yeah, definitely overheated. I was probably being airheaded, running the AC and just not, you know, being aware of my truck and everything. So that's my bad. That's my mistake. Stuff happens. I should have been more conscious of my truck and my equipment, but you know, I'm not perfect, and people make mistakes, and yeah, so that's what you know, trucking will teach you. It'll keep you on your toes. Every time you get complacent or think you're comfortable with something, you know, that truck will basically whip you back into shape and smack you wide awake. So don't get complacent. Don't get comfortable. Be aware. You know, I know, you know, I was up on that mountain and not thinking about nothing. I'm listening to music and, you know, just taking in all the scenery, and, you know, just being airheaded is what it was. It was a mistake. So anyways, got to the top of this mountain and I pulled over on the top. Luckily there was a pull off at the top, and man, my coolant reservoir, it was let me take a sip of this coffee. It was bubbling. It got pretty dang hot. And so like I said, I'm up on the mountain, overheated, and you know, I sat there for a while, and finally I put the 2 gallons of coolant that I had in it. And I know I've been having coolant issues, but pretty sure I got to the bottom of my issues, you know. Anyways, sat there for 30 minutes, like, what am I gonna do? I can't call out, you know, nobody on the CB is gonna help me. Who's got that much water and, you know, coolant anyways? You know, who's gonna stop to help me? Nobody. So basically had to hitchhike. It's my first time in my life ever hitchhiking, and, you know, I put out my reflective triangles, you know, locked up my trailer, locked up everything, got everything situated, and packed a bag, and held my door open, threw my thumb up, and I hitched a ride. These really nice German people that were traveling, they actually picked me up, brought me into town, and I finally had service. It was about 30 miles, about 28 miles, about 30 minutes to where I could finally get, you know, into a town and get some kind of cell phone reception. So anyways, I got into town and was calling out, trying to figure out what I could do. Didn't know if I had a blown head gasket, didn't know if I needed a new radiator, didn't know if I was gonna have to call a tow truck. I didn't know shit. I was left to fend for myself, so it was a pretty, I guess, it was a learning experience. It's, I guess, one of those situations in trucking to where you just got to figure out, what the hell you're going to do. You're out there on your own. What do you do in that situation? A tow bill, the nearest anything, it's probably an hour and a half in Monroe. And so that would have been a very, very expensive tow bill that I would have had to pay. So anyways, I ended up getting water, and the coolant that I bought, it was the wrong color. It was supposed to be orange. I know you can mix orange and red, but you can't mix like yellow or green with red. And anyways, so I had bought it. They said it was orange, and when I poured it out, it looked more yellowish. So I ended up just putting water in it, is what I did. So I was able to get it off the mountain, and I'm pretty sure I just ran hot. And, I hitched a ride back into town, or I hitched a ride back to my truck from town and topped it off with water, and I was able to final out my deliveries. And I think it was Monroe, and then I had another one in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is where I'm at now. So I had a guy, I started calling, and I had somebody come out. He said he would look at it for free. He pressurized my system. Ended up being the tank. I still couldn't tell you why I ran hot, but I don't know, maybe that had something to do with the tank not pressurizing, or maybe it just ran hot for whatever reason. So I don't think I have any serious issues right now. Hopefully not. So anyways, they pressurized the system, and it ended up being the tank, and the guy looked at it, and I ended up going with the shop so they could just order the part and bundle everything together. That way I didn't have to, because they had to order it from Denver. So if I would have went with the other mechanic, then I would have had to pay for the money up front, or put the money up front, order the part, wait for it to get here, then wait for him, and he had a busy schedule. So I was like, you know what, I might as well just go over here to the Freightliner dealership in Grand Junction, Colorado, and get it all squared away. So that's what I did. Anyways, got here this morning at 7 a.m., checked in my truck, and they were looking at it for a while. And my pops even told me, he's like, man, you better be careful. I usually try to keep my truck out of dealerships like this. I prefer personal people that I know to work on my truck. I don't like bringing my truck to dealerships where I can't stay with my truck at all times. I can't put an eyeball on it. Anyways, my dad called it out. He said, they're going to try to squeeze a radiator out of you. They're going to try to do something to jack up that bill. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. So I'm sitting out here out front, somewhere over there. Guy comes out. He says the two bolts on top of the radiator won't come out. They just keep turning and twisting, and they won't come out, blah blah blah. I said, well, let me see it. Let me put an eyeball on it. Let me see you actually try to take it out. And so he was basically trying to say that I needed a new radiator, and the new radiator was the only way to go, that if they took out those bolts, they wouldn't be able to get them back in. And so anyways, I went inside the shop. I put an eyeball on it. I had them do it in front of me. They were able to get it out. And, I told them, I'm not a company driver. I'm paying for this out of my pocket. This is, I don't have a big company to look out for me when things go wrong. I have to fend for myself when things happen. So they ended up getting the bolts out, and they said, that they could work their magic and get something done. So that's where we're at right now. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to put it back in. I got a new jug, new coolant reservoir. I don't believe I need a new radiator. I also did have the mechanic that came out, the guy that came out for free. He took off on the side of the driver's side there of the block of the engine. There's a big metal pipe, and basically, from what I know, if there's coolant inside that pipe, then that means you have a bad EGR. So anyways, he took off that pipe and looked in there. It was all pretty dry and everything. So I do not believe that I have any EGR cooler problems as of now, which is a very good sign. So right now, if the jug is the least of my worries, then I'm in good shape. So I told him to put new coolant in it, put a new jug on it. At the bottom of the radiator, there's a a big hose. It's like a fat one. I told them to put one of those on, and I think I'm getting some new lines for the electric and the air lines and stuff as well. So hopefully I should be able to get out of here for under $1,000 and get rolling on my next load. But I am out here in Colorado, and I don't know, I'm probably gonna have to deadhead somewhere. I don't know if I'm gonna have to go to Kansas or Utah, or I don't know. I know I'm gonna have to deadhead. So anyways, I just want to tell you guys that crazy story. I've never had to hitchhike before in my life. You know, it could have been the dead of winter. It could have been a worse situation. You know what I mean? There could have been so much other stuff that could have gone wrong. The weather conditions, you know, the time of year, there's so many factors, but it's things like this that keep you on your toes and keep you learning. And I've definitely learned a lot of valuable lessons in this trip alone. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Just wanted to tell you guys that story, and let's hope I get out of here for under $1,000 and I can get back rolling again. All right, if you haven't, leave your comments, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, I got my baby back right here. I got the total bill. It's about 1,300 bucks. So yeah, this is the pipe I was telling you about right here. And the guy that came out for free, he looked inside there, it was pretty dry. So from what I know, as long as I don't have coolant in there, my EGR should be okay, my EGR cooler. There's the new tank. As you can see, there's still kind of coolant. I need to wash my truck and wash my engine and stuff, but coolant went everywhere. I had them, I don't know if you guys can see down there, that hose at the bottom. They replaced that. They pressurized the system. We're good on leaks. Got the jug put on. And I don't believe I have any EGR problems as of now. Also, I had them do the whole kit, the blue, the red, the electric, all that put on, and I really needed a new set. So I did ask them if they had the stainless steel ones with the close bolt pattern, like mine has a close, but they didn't have it. But that's coming next because this just kind of looks tacky, but I'll get it figured out. You know, just gotta roll with the punches. You know, whatever trucking throws your way, you just gotta solve the problems and keep pushing forward. You know, I've had a solid truck so far. It's been little stuff like this. I'll probably do another video on a full maintenance walkthrough on everything I've done to this truck in the future. But yeah, this is the stuff we deal with out here, and you just gotta figure it out. You gotta, you know, problem arises and you gotta figure it out. That's what it is. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next one.